Once you've mastered ruffles and swags, you can build on those skills to make embellished decorations. Here I'm going to show you how to make a fancy ruffle garland. I'm using the tip 104 with the narrow end pointed down, and I'm just doing a zigzag motion in a curve, and that gives you the ruffle garland. Then I'm going to come back with the same tip 104, and I'm going to overpipe the top of the ruffle garland with a swag. And that just is maintaining steady pressure on the bag. You want to slightly conceal the top part of the ruffle garland, again keeping the narrow end of the tip pointed downwards. The next step is to add the top drop string above the swag. And remember, with string work, you want to touch the tip to the surface so that the icing attaches, and then pull the tip away and let the icing fall where you want it. And then to embellish where the swags and the garlands come together, I'm going to pipe a little Fleur de Lis. And these are just 3 shells that are, one is up and down, and then the other 2 come in from the side, and then I'm going to pipe a dot on top of that. I'll show you that technique again more close up. Remember, the trick with the ruffle garland is to pipe a zigzag on a curve, and to do that you want to make sure that the narrow end of tip 104 is pointing downwards. Maintain steady pressure and try to make sure that your zigzags are of even height. Then when you come back through to pipe the swag on top, you want to slightly conceal the top of the zigzags, and you just use steady pressure and pipe the icing out in a curve. Then for the drop string, remember to touch the tip to the surface so that the icing attaches, and then pull the tip away so you can see where the icing is going to go, and just kind of let it fall where you want it. And then to conceal where everything comes together, we're going to finish it off with a Fleur de Lis. Once you have these techniques mastered, you can combine the different effects and get creative with your own embellished garlands. Here's another example of a ruffle garland that is embellished. This is going to be a ruffle garland with a zigzag on top and then a drop string effect on top of the zigzag. Again, it starts out just the same way as the one I did previously, where you're piping a zigzag with a tip 104 on a curve. Then you're going to come back with a star tip. A number 18 or 16 would be great. Here I think I'm using a 16, and you're going to pipe a zigzag on top of the ruffles, and then on top of the zigzag you're going to add 2 drop strings. And again, the same technique, you're going to attach the icing to the surface and then pull the tip away for the drop string and let it fall where you want it to be. The other technique on this practice board sheet involves some string work. This is a dropped lattice border, and I'm going to start off by piping a straight line. Don't panic if the icing breaks, because it's basically going to be covered up. You're looking for a straight line to use as a guide for the string work in the lattice. And with a straight line, the trick is, again, you want to maintain steady pressure. If you notice that your icing is splitting like this, you can try adding a little bit of piping gel to it. That should help it come out of the tip a little bit more smoothly. Once I have my top lines made, I'm going to come back with a star tip number 16, and I'm going to pipe a simple zigzag garland. Again, this is just a zigzag motion on a curve. And remember to make the heights of your zigzag even and maintain steady pressure. Next comes the fun part, and that is adding the lattice work. This is essentially string work. You're going to start by piping the bottom string, and then when you go to make the lattice, you're going to simply connect the top string to the bottom string via more strings piped on a diagonal. And this practice board sheet is great because it gives you the outline to go by. So when you're piping strings like this, you want to make sure that the icing adheres to the top string, and then again lift the tip and let the icing kind of fall where you want it. This takes a lot of patience, so this is not a good technique to attempt if you need to get a cake decorated in a hurry, but the result is stunning and very impressive, so it's worth the time you put into it. And after I just told you not to get in a hurry and to be patient and take your time, I've gone ahead and sped up the video because it does take quite a bit of time to pipe all these strings, and I realize that you probably have more things to do than watch me painstakingly pipe this lattice string work. But again, technique is the same. Touch the tip to the surface. In this case, it's going to be either the top string or the bottom string. Then lift your tip away and let the icing fall. Again, if the icing breaks, don't panic. 9 times out of 10, you can fix it. And if you notice that it's a problem, your icing keeps breaking on you, add a little bit of piping gel to the icing. Once I have finished my lattice, I'm going to come back and over pipe this bottom string. This is going to give it a cleaner and neater finish because it's going to cover up where the lattice strings attach to the bottom. And then I'm going to take a star tip and finish the whole thing off with a pretty shell along the top of the lattice. So this is how you can combine several different techniques to create something really, really fancy. Have fun with it and get creative.